Hi, kindergarten students. My name is Miss Hunt, and I work with your kindergarten teachers. I asked them if I could talk to you this week about graphs. And to start off talking about graphs, we're going to talk about picture graphs. I have here an example of a picture graph. And when we use a graph, we use it to show information, or sometimes we call it data. So here, somebody asked a question about what your favorite pet was. And when they asked these people, they found out that 5 people liked cats as their favorite pet. Here we have dog, and we see that 2 people chose dogs. And for hamster, 1, 2, 3. And we call this a picture graph because instead of using numbers here, we are using pictures. And I can tell just by looking at this graph that cats were liked the most because I have the most paw prints for cats. You can see in this graph, I'm looking at it side to side, or I'm reading it left to right, left to right. These are my labels, and I go and look at my data over here on the right-hand side. But there are some graphs, like this March weather graph, that goes from top to bottom or up and down. So sometimes we might see it look a little bit differently, but we can still get the same information. I have my title up here, and I have my labels. This is my sunny weather, days that I had rainy weather, partly cloudy skies, and then cloudy skies. So when I look at this graph, right away I can see that I had the most sunny weather days because I have the most pictures of suns. And I can also tell that cloudy days were the least kind of weather that we had during March. So that's what's helpful about graphs is that we can look at it and within just a few seconds, we can find out information that has been gathered and collected. If I look at this graph about animals on Old MacDonald's farm, I notice that there's a title, we have the labels of the animals down here, and we have the number of animals off to the side. Now on this graph, different pictures were used for each animal. Sometimes you'll find that maybe the same picture is used and we just have to count how many pictures there are. But just by looking at this graph, I can tell that Old MacDonald only has 1 sheep and that he has less sheep than any other animal. That's the animal he has the least of. You'll notice in this graph about favorite fruit, that's my title. Here are my labels, and they used pictures instead of words for their labels. But do you notice how they use the same picture? They didn't have pictures of apples and pictures of pears. They had just one picture to show you how many people liked apples or how many people chose pears. And I bet you can see that just by looking at this graph, we know that the fewest people chose grapes. That must be the fruit that is liked the least when asked about these 4 fruits. When you meet with your teacher, she is going to make a graph with you. So she's going to make a favorite fruits graph. So you want to be thinking about, is your favorite fruit bananas, apples, or oranges? And then she might do another graph with you where she's asking about grapes, strawberries, and pears. So in the grapes, strawberries, and pears, I see that I've got my title and I've got my labels. We're going to use these pictures to show how many of each fruit your class likes. So remember, it's important to collect data, and then we use these picture graphs to help show the information that we get, to show the answers to the questions that we've asked. So I hope you have a good day with your teacher creating some new picture graphs.